Hey guys, welcome to BMW Blog and welcome to Los Angeles. We're at the Petersen Museum where BMW Motorsport has just unveiled this brand new car, the BMW M Hybrid V8. To learn all about the design about this car, I have with me Michael Scully from DesignWorks. He's in charge of the design of the M Hybrid V8. And Michael, take it away. Tell me more about the car and about the project.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, it's an amazing privilege, first, I should say, to work on a car like this after BMW actually created the very first GTP car.
Okay.
And so, you know, we have a precedent in GTP racing, and to follow up on that is fantastic. Design-wise, the front of the car, I think, really sets the tone, right? And you'll notice there's this very open architecture to the front, which is entirely flow-through, and that's fundamental to the performance of a modern prototype race car. But obviously, we have the kidneys, and in this case, they're laser lit. And every bit of air that goes through the kidney or under the kidney is fundamental to the function of this front diffuser. And so really having that embedded function is important, but I think also the parts that come together on the car to reinforce that BMW identity is this faceted hood, the nested logo in the center, and of course the twin icon headlights on the side. And that really creates this very determined forward-facing expression. And in a racing context, there's nothing more appropriate to that, and it also happens to look like a BMW.
Okay, sure. So now before we move and talk more about the design, tell me how difficult it is to design a race car compared to a normal series BMW.
Right, yeah. I think racing projects for me are very rewarding because you have to balance the, let's say, design DNA with an absolute functionalism, right?
Yeah.
And you know, at the end of the day, it's a race car and it has to work. And as a designer, I actually really enjoy having some boundaries that you can bump up against and maybe even find clever solutions for. And so I really like having that functional requirement to try to still dial in, you know, a really highly emotional aspect. But at the end of the day, the car has to work. And that sets a strong priority for our decisions.
Okay, so if you look at the front a little bit, I've noticed the illuminated kidney grille. What was the idea behind that? Is it purely functional or aesthetic?
So obviously, you know, you're familiar with the BMW M Vision Next. And that really did pioneer this laser lighting on multiple parts of the car, on the lights, front and rear, things like that. But we've illuminated the kidneys here first to pronounce them, to connect them with the XM that's coming out in a couple days. But also with a functional aspect to it as well, which is, you know, on a endurance racing nighttime journey, this car is kind of, I think, will be unmistakable even in the dark. And so they're kind of the ultimate spotter light. So yeah, there is a function behind them as well.
Okay, double headlamp, so clearly iconic BMW design element.
Exactly.
Just slanted and I guess slimmer than what we're used to seeing, right?
Yeah, it's super modern, I think, to get into the more rectilinear format. But again, you know, if you look at the BMW M Vision Next, you'll probably recognize the similarity.
The similarity there, So now let's talk about the side view, Michael. Tell me more about the design here.
Yeah, I mean, I think in side view, actually, if you transition around, you'll notice it has this very defined shark nose to the front. And that shark nose is really important to helping reinforce that again, that forward orientation of the car and that determination, the purposefulness of it. And that shark nose obviously has an incredible connection to our heritage, but it's also great to bring it into a racing context when you're trying to move forward at all costs. If we then transition around, we start to see the side pod, and that side pod has this very crisp line, which in our camouflage livery might not have been evident, but now we can see that we have this precision of line together with this, let's say, radiused, more full surface. And combining those two things, the precision and the generosity of a surface, is something that BMW, you know, has done from a design standpoint for quite a while, and we're well known for it. But the cool thing about this line also is that functionally, it helps define this outlet for the front diffuser. And this, as I mentioned at the front with this flow-through architecture, that air has to go somewhere. And so we've used that line to really define this opening. And so again, it's that great example of commingling absolute function with BMW design DNA.
Okay, so you mentioned the presentation a little bit earlier about the Hofmeister King. Where can we see that on the car? Because it's not as obvious as you would think on this one.
It's a pretty,
It's be right there?
That's a pretty avant-garde interpretation, let's say. It's more evident on the other side because there's color that helps get a contrast from it. But yeah, it really, again, is a modernized interpretation, which you'll see in the livery itself, I think is, again, very modern and almost abstract at first glimpse. But when you recognize that this almost deconstructed M logo actually in some views clicks together and becomes perfectly clear in direct side view, for example, right down at axle center line. And we really like bringing that abstraction together at points. And it's M deconstructed and M reconstructed. And that aspect of these kind of hidden discoveries, or Easter eggs almost, are throughout the car. And we have lots of corner-to-corner relationships that again reference the BMW logo itself, so the blue and white coming together. And so those are all throughout the car.
So lots of Easter eggs.
Also, another aspect is here in view of the driver is actually this blue and purple. And that's the natural color of electricity, both blue and purple. But purple in a motorsports context is actually the color of a fastest lap time or fastest sector time. And so the fact that it's in view of the driver is design's gentle reminder that the car might have that capability.
Okay, so maybe we should take a look at the back. Clearly some unique taillights, right? So let's start with that. I mean, taillights.
So the taillights, you'll notice they have an overall kind of trinity pattern, which you may recognize, so for example, from the Vision Circular, but they still have a dominant L shape. And again, that's a reference to BMW's heritage, and we always have that strong recognizability at the rear. We've chosen also to have the twin BMW Rondell logos, which of course references the M1 itself, but also the upcoming XM.
Okay.
So again, referencing a bit of history, but also the future.
Looks massive. I can tell you that. I mean, it looks
the car
in real
makes
life.
downforce. The car is all about downforce. I mean, in a racing context, that's what it's all about. And hopefully, you don't have too much drag, right?
Yeah.
And trying to balance that efficiency of absolute downforce, but with reduced drag is what it's all about. And so that drove a lot of our process, but we also worked very hard to ensure a BMW identity survived that process as well.
Gotcha. So now compared to other projects you might have done, a regular BMW series car, have you spent more time in the wind tunnel?
Yeah, it's a very aerodynamically intensive process.
Yeah.
And you know, we start with simulations because that allows you to make large changes and movements in surfaces, and you understand basic values. But at some point with those simulations, you also need to step into a physical wind tunnel model and test if it translates. And it's this constant kind of iterative process, which is probably a bit different than a production car, for example, in that it was a long back and forth, multiple times per week, you know, Dallara, BMW Motorsport in Munich, and DesignWorks, triangulating across the globe. And yeah, we did it. Here we are.
So final question, is it fair to assume that with Le Mans coming up in 2024 that we might be seeing different liveries as well?
That's a good question.
So do you think this will live on forever, or there might be some special ones?
Well, you know, you always hope for you know, an internal attraction.
Yeah.
but you never know.
Okay.
But for IMSA 2023, we're proud of this one and very proud to be back in GTP racing.
Nice.
This is actually the fourth generation of prototype that BMW has created, and you know, to be with the M1C, the LMR 99 car is an honor. Yeah. And yeah, to be the latest generation is a real privilege.
Awesome. Well, Michael, congratulations on the car one more time. It looks
thank you.
Absolutely spectacular. I look forward to seeing it in Daytona, so hopefully it's going to win some races, and I'm sure we'll spend some more time talking about the car in the future.
Thank you,
guys,
sir.
Thanks for watching. Once again, live from Los Angeles with the new BMW M Hybrid V8. We'll see you soon.